I think the rational thing to do would be to have an additional testing session probably sometime this week just to see exactly how many laps you can run the current option tire until it obviously shatters, basically. Joey Logano went, I want to say, around 70 laps on his set of tires, and he still managed to bring it home second in that stage after being passed with about 8 laps to go by Christopher Bell in stage two. So I definitely think that the tire has a lot more life to it if you take care of it. And with that in mind, I don't see a problem using this tire for the championship race as it currently stands. That race was exceptional. Any run that they had on the option tire where most of the front of the field had to take it was very gripping action. You still saw cars that were a little bit more tailored toward a short run have more short-term speed and get the most out of those tires for the first 20 laps. And then you still had drivers like Ryan Blaney, who his car didn't seem to take off very well, especially on restarts. It didn't really help that he didn't really have a great day on pit road, but it just seemed like his car was tailored more for the 15 to 60 lap runs that we're accustomed to seeing at Phoenix, and he was still able to pick his way through the field similarly to how he usually does. So I don't think the option tire made too much of a like competitive difference, like in terms of the tires like overall life. I think that McDowell's problems were something more to do with how the car was set up, considering he had an additional issue with that same exact tire later on in the race. And I believe the second time it was a primary that had a problem. So it wasn't even like all of the option tires, blistering and blowing up too early. No, I just think it was a setup problem for the 71, considering they had a second failure with a different tire compound. So I think that this tire definitely passes the sniff test to this point. I think that conservatively speaking, they should probably do an additional test here before it gets too hot in the Phoenix area. But at the end of the day, if I was forced to make a decision today, I would absolutely be totally fine with moving this option tire into the championship race. And I don't think that the championship race should have an option tire. I think that the red that we had today should be the primary and only option we have for the title race, because as much as I enjoy the option tire and having that as like some form of a strategy variance, I still don't think that we need to gimmick up the championship race if we're going to make it a one race championship. To me, we've already gimmicked up this point system and how we race way too much. So I think adding another tangible strategic element to the race would not make the product any better and would more so serve to throw the audience off and give them something else to keep their eye on when they should be trying to focus on the race for the title rather than, oh, well, which car has which set of tires on. So, yeah, I'm in favor of this option tire being the primary for November, but please, whatever you do, do not make it an option tire race in November. Nobody wants to see that.
How originally I was thinking I would prefer to see the option in November originally. But then I think Jackson on Thursday said something. It was along the lines of, we seem to throw this sort to make the competition a little bit more better on the track, but not so much to improve the strategy element. And I felt that really came true, especially that third stage, that second from last caution that got William Byron out because he was just making his pit stop when Bubba Wallace hit the wall. That would have been a good round of green flag pit stops. See drivers like Ty Dillon, who still had two fresh option tires, through his own mistake on pit road, took himself out of contention when everybody else was down to one set of good option tires or scuffed option tires. But we did see that point where almost everybody was on the option tire. And it's like, okay, you're just putting everybody in the box. You're not having that strategic element compared to if we didn't have the stages, if we had green flag pit stops. So thinking more about it, I have changed my mind where it's like, okay, we're gonna have a softer tire. Let's see how much longer until you have to pit. But you're talking about tire wear. If we're talking the same temperature range, we have a good idea under race conditions what they're doing. If it's a little hotter, okay, tire wear could be a little bit higher. That could make the show a little bit more spicy. And I think it's a good move by what Goodyear did and NASCAR to bring the two tire compounds because at least everyone's talking about what the option tire did to the racing product, which, especially for Ryan Preece, that team just to fly up there, and then even Logano, because after the penalty, Logano was just slowly working his way towards the front. He gets on the option tires and he is just flying up to the front afterwards. So I think this was a good win for them. Let's get to the championship race. And again, just put it all on. Okay, go out there. We're not going to throw another element of what is with an option tire, but just everyone's on softer tires. Now you got to be mindful because tire wear could be a bigger impact. And you might have a run where you're going to be trying to take care of those tires, and you might have somebody with newer tires coming towards the front. Could be an interesting dynamic we haven't seen in quite a few years at Phoenix.